So the challenge we have in a nation like South Africa and other nations of the world is that our primary identity tends to be around our skin color. That's the thing that was reinforced years ago, and it's still like that. But if we want to create a culture of non-racialism, it's important that we're raising up a generation, our children, our children's children, that don't think in terms of color as their primary identity. And it's an interesting exercise, and I've done this years ago in psychology class, where we literally needed to write out how we see ourselves. Do you see yourself first as male or female? Do you see yourself first as black or white or Indian? Do you see yourself primarily as a business person, teacher, educator? How do you define yourself? Because you see, your identity determines your behavior. If I believe I'm a cow, guess what's going to happen? When you go and have lunch just now, or dinner, whatever your next meal is, I'm going to go and find grass and start eating it. And so what we find is that the way prejudice works in society is not just a thing that people do over you. Our own prejudices affect us in how we see ourselves and therefore how we behave. How often do we see people in this nation defining themselves based primarily on their in-group? So you hear people saying things like, hey, I'm black. I don't climb mountains. I'm not into hiking. Black people are into plain surfaces, right? Or I'm white. I'm not into dancing the way you guys dance. And we limit ourselves. If I look at the sports scene, I see so many kids, white kids, doing so well in soccer at a young age. My kids are very good at soccer. But then what happens as they begin to grow older and go to high school? You'll still see this skinny white boy moving across to rugby because that's what's celebrated in his culture. Instead of actually saying, as an individual, what sport am I passionate about? So what happens is we've created a society that is perpetuating division because we say black people are into this, white people are into that. As opposed to saying, culture is about values, norms, and beliefs. And every single family has a different culture, if you think about it, because every single family has different values, different norms, and different beliefs. Instead of grouping up people and saying, because you are from this community, this is what you'll be interested in. Because you've grown up in the Indian community, you will be a doctor or an accountant. What about the Indian people who love art? And what we found happening is that a lot of us are from collectivist cultures. And with collectivism, what happens is people don't do things based on individual conscience. They do things based on fear of banishment from their in-group. So you'll find a young black kid growing up in a rural community saying, Mom, Dad, you've seen how everyone celebrates my art. I want to go to university to study art. And what does Mom and Dad do? Mom and Dad look at each other and say, honey, if they call each other honey, do you know anyone in our family setting who has ever studied art at university? Anyone who's a professional artist? No, they'll struggle financially. We've never seen that happening before. Sorry, child, you can't do that. We cannot pay for you to go to university to just draw pictures. And so we end up having this commonality. We end up having this situation where you have outliers struggling with the desire to fit in, but their skill at the same time not being celebrated. We need to create a culture that has a strong balance between the collective and also the individual. That's so important. And it impacts the racial dynamics we're experiencing in our nation right now.